Hi, good evening everybody. My name is Daniel Jolka. I'm going to be giving you a brief on the Zika virus. That's what I've chosen for my presentation today, to kind of give you some of the information, basic information on this virus. So, many of you guys are probably planning your trip vacations for your spring break, selecting a location where you want to go, the beachy, warm area, away from the cold United States right now. Maybe, Ecuador, Brazil, some of those exotic areas in the other side of the hemisphere. You might want to think that again. Reason why is this new virus of Zika is widely spreading in those areas, and there's a lot of those countries that have been affected by this virus. So the U.S. has put out a warning, basically telling travelers going to these countries to be really conscious of how this virus works and what's doing to people, and basically giving you an understanding that you need to know before you go there. So just using this brief, I'm going to try to talk to you about the origins of the virus, some of the symptoms, and what can it do to you and maybe some of the people that you know if you get affected and contacted by this virus. Also, we're going to talk about ways to prevent it a little bit, and the areas with part of the world where the areas have been the most affected by the virus. So a lot of people think that this is a new virus, that the virus is just new developed, and it comes from Brazil. But the virus actually has been around for a little while, and it does not come from Brazil. According to Short Answers for Hard Questions of Zika, written on January 3rd, 2016 by Donald J. McNeil, New York Times writer, the virus actually comes from a place in Africa named Zika. That's where the name comes from. In the area of Uganda. The virus was first observed in monkeys on 1947 while studying the monkeys for the Nile virus. The monkeys showed different symptoms, but still similar to the Nile virus. So then they realized that there was a completely different virus, and they gave it the name of Zika. It's in close relationship to dengue, Nile virus, and yellow fever. So they're very similar symptoms, but not all quite the same. The first humans affected were also from that area in 1952. Some of the first cases show up, and until this point, none of this virus have been seen in the United States or in the Americas, but mostly in Asia, in the Pacific, and places in Africa. There's recently started a couple of months ago. There's been a wild spread of the virus in specific countries in South America and Central America, and some of the U.S. territories such as Puerto Rico. So the virus is a mosquito-transmitted disease. Also can be transmitted by can also be sexually transmitted, and it can widely spread if because of the symptoms not being shown right away. I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the symptoms and some of the consequences of having the virus and why it's so important that we know about it. So the virus is kind of a silent virus. It really doesn't show any symptoms on a person right away. Most people that gets affected by the virus, it shows them about 7 days later, where you'll start realizing you have light fevers, they come on and off, joint pain, headaches, and red itchy eyes. On most normal humans, most normal people, the virus won't cause any damage and it'll be gone within a few days. The real problem is when a pregnant woman gets affected by this virus, because there's a high tendency that the pregnant woman is going to transmit this virus to the fetus, which that's the biggest problem that's been seen lately with women affected. They pass it to the fetus. And a lot of those babies are now born with a Guillain-Barré syndrome or microcephaly. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, if a woman gets bitten by a mosquito infected with Zika, there's no way to stop it or prevent it from the fetus being affected. So most likely the baby's going to be born with microcephaly, and then there's really nothing they can do from that point on. Some of the ways to prevent this from happening is basically trying to avoid places that are infected by the virus. Brazil and Ecuador being the two most affected out of the South American countries. avoid going to those places until there's been a stoppage to the problem or there's more control to the spreading of the virus. Another way to prevent it, if you have to go to those places, trying to avoid exposing yourself or your skin to the outside so you don't get bitten by mosquitoes. And if you do get to go to an area like this, prevent from donating blood or doing any blood transfusions for at least 24 days in order to prevent the virus, from growing and spreading in you and then passing to someone else. 20 countries in South America and Central America have been affected. There hasn't been any cases of U.S. citizens getting the virus while in the United States, but there's been about 40 cases of U.S. citizens coming back from these countries and bringing the disease back with them, and now they're currently being treated. Although there is no cure for the virus, according to Reuters.com, in an article about Canadian scientist Gary Kevner, they're developing a vaccine for this virus. There will be a virus that will be released as early as August in order to prevent, the high season expected for this virus in October and November. Well, this concludes my piece of information. Hopefully it helps you out and maybe helps you making your plans for your future vacations. There's nothing really you can do about the virus. The symptoms are very light, and women that are pregnant are the most affected right now. Of course, the babies that are born after that are the most affected as well. So I hope you like my presentation, and I was wondering, is there any questions at this time? No. Okay. So if you don't have any questions for me, I have some questions for you. Where does the virus come from?
Africa.
Africa. Okay. Have there been any cases of this virus, of any patients getting this virus in the United States?
Not catching it here in the United States, but people that traveled and came back.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for listening.